Hey guys, I am in the building today, but I'm in meetings, so I will not be here with you. A couple of reminders before we get started. So the first one is just about overall respect, integrity, determination, and engagement. Those are those pillars on our pride matrix, and they have to do with everything you're going to do today. You know, it starts with sitting in your seat, your assigned seat. It continues with you listening to this video right now. If you're not, time to quiet down and listen. It follows through with some work we're going to do today, and just making sure that you're respectful to your peers, you're respectful to the guest teacher, and you follow through with what you're supposed to do today. Second reminder is to make a plan with me if you're going to revise your assessment. There's a handful of you in the first period whose assessment I found, but you can check Google Classroom for that grade, and I'll get it back to you tomorrow. But I'll be back tomorrow to be able to kind of plan a resource with, or contact me somehow if you're thinking of revising for the test, so we can make a plan about what you need to do. Part of today is individual work, and part of today is partner work. So please respect both times. When it's individual work, I'm asking you to work individually. And that means that you're staying where you're at, you're not moving seats, and you're following the instructions. And then when it's partner work time, feel free to move around and work with a partner. Everyone's going to stay in the classroom today. You don't need to go into the learning lounge. I'm just going to ask you to be respectful of both times and hopefully use that time wisely. So today you're going to do some readings and get a graphic organizer to complete on 4 different topics that relate to kind of the next steps. So yesterday we talked about the Underground Railroad. And during this big chunk of time leading up to the Civil War, our government is very active with a lot of things going on. So there's some issues. And one of the big things that happens is that as the years go on and as people continue to move west and as states or territories become more populated, those areas can apply for statehood. And so there are new states ready to join the Union. And overall, the Union is considered the entire country. In terms of the Civil War, the Union will kind of come to represent the North. But right now, when we say states joining the Union, it means the whole country. The big question when states want to join is, do they want to join as a state that will allow slavery or a state that will not allow slavery? So we call them free states or slave states. And when you think of government-wise, what the implications are, what the consequences are, if we have 22 states and 11 are free and 11 are slave, then it makes the issues pretty equal, and deciding on the issues pretty equal. However, if we admit one state to the Union that is pro-slavery, there's an imbalance. Or if we admit one state that is free, it's an imbalance. So more slave states would give more Congress representatives, which would give more votes for laws that could be passed that favor slavery. And on the other hand, more free states would mean that there were more Congress representatives that could vote on laws that were against slavery. So you're going to see in your readings today, or hear in your readings today, that there's a lot of issues about keeping that balance. And so there's a lot of compromises that get made because that balance is important. My head is blocking this one. The government decisions that get made, which are laws, become a really big deal. So there's 4 that we're going to take a look at today. The Missouri Compromise, the Compromise of 1850, the Fugitive Slave Act, and the Wilmot Proviso. So the first thing you're going to do, and I'm going to have your guest teacher pause the video in a moment, is go on to Google Classroom, and you're going to take a look at the 4 notes first, or the 4 readings first. Before taking any notes, before highlighting anything, before underlining anything, or writing anything down, you're going to read through each of those 4. And each of them are a page. So when you open it up, the document looks like this. You will see that on the back countertop, there are 4 different colored pieces of paper, and those are these same 4 readings. If you take a colored piece of paper today because you want to read it on a hard copy, no problem at all. Please make sure you return it. There's only 40 copies of each. And so if people take some throughout the day, they run out by my last class. So please, if you have a colored piece of paper during work time today, just return it to the back. I then have audio for each of these 4. If it took me anywhere between 1 and 2 minutes to audio record each of those. So I'm going to say that right now, the video is going to be paused, and once it's paused, everyone's job is to read those 4. If you feel like you are a really slow reader, then listen to the audio. Or if you're not a slow reader and you'd just rather listen to the audio, I'm making it available there because I'm just going to give you, I want the time limit to be 10 minutes on this. Because we're not writing anything down, we're not taking any notes, we're just right now like hearing the information once over. So 10 minutes, the guest teacher can kind of keep an eye on the clock. These audios will be posted along with the articles or along with the little blurbs on each. You need to read each of them. This is independent right now. In a second, like after this 10 minutes, we're going to move to some partner stuff, but right now is individual. So I'm going to pause this, do that right now. All right, that 10 minutes is up. So your next job is actually going to be a partner job. You're going to pick up a graphic organizer that looks like this. Your guest teacher has the stack of them. And each of the articles or each of the little blurbs has kind of a little column here. And what I'm going to ask you to do is kind of follow along with either, sometimes I'm going to ask you to define a word, like it'll say sectionalism means, and then you need to write what the definition is or what the article says. Sometimes it'll ask you to kind of list some things. Sometimes it'll just ask you to fill in the blank. But you're going to reread each of the 4, and you're going to fill in the graphic organizer for each. This can be done in partners. However, you're staying in the classroom, but feel free to move around and work with partners. This is due tomorrow. This should be done tomorrow. So you're going to take a second read of all of those, and you're going to finish this for tomorrow. Once everybody finishes this, if there is time, I'm also going to have up Quizlet and Gimkit. And so we'll do a vocab Gimkit or a Quizlet Live, whatever the class kind of wants. And I'll leave both of those links up in tabs as well, so that the last 5 minutes or so can be some vocabulary review. If that doesn't end up working for some reason, but you finish this early, then you, on your own, should go to Quizlet and do some vocabulary review so that you make the best use of your time today. So, graphic organizers look like this. You're working on it with a partner or by yourself if you want to. Feel free to listen to music if you're working by yourself. These are due tomorrow. If you have extra time as a class, you can play a Gimkit or Quizlet Live. If there's no extra time as a class, but you're done individually, go ahead and review on Quizlet. Have a good day. Thank you for doing your job. I'll see you tomorrow.